So as some of you may know, the iPhone 13, in my opinion, the whole entire lineup has been a very solid lineup from Apple. I'm so happy about them. I think they're iPhones I'm going to be recommending in the future. And now it's time to take a look at another iPhone that Apple made, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and see how it holds up in 2022. Now there's been a few developments here and there, and we're almost 1 year into its life cycle. I think in the next 2-3 months, it'll be 1 year, which is so crazy. WWDC is also right around the corner, so we're going to be swamped with a bunch of these other products coming out in softwares. But with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, this is the best of the best from Apple. This is the most expensive iPhone right now, and I think it's the most expensive iPhone they've ever made theoretically. Now, one thing I will definitely tell you with the 13 Pro Max is it's pretty much as perfect of an iPhone you can buy right now. Stemming back a little bit, with the 12 Pro Max, I really wasn't that happy with that device. I think it was very, very average, but it wasn't one of those devices that I looked at and I didn't really think it was worth the money. Now with all the leaks and rumors about the iPhone 14s and how some things or a lot of things are actually changing with those devices, I actually look at a phone like the 13 Pro Max, and not only am I super excited about this phone for the next, couple months when, it's still being sold as a brand new, flagship phone, but for the next couple of years, I feel very comfortable knowing that this is an iPhone I can recommend to people to buy, and as long as there's no crazy big scandal with this device, like a Bendgate thing or something like that, I feel like this iPhone is more in line with an iPhone 11 Pro Max, where you can just buy it even like 5 years later, and it's still going to be a very solid iPhone. So that is basically the main thing I want to get out of the way. This is a very, very good device, and whether you're buying it today, you're buying it next month, or you're buying it next year, or the next 2-3 years from now, this is a device that's pretty much future-proofed for the most part. Apple can go ahead and remove the notch and make it 3 times faster or whatever, but this is going to be one of those iPhones you can still buy, and you can have a great time with it for sure. Now on the outside, it still feels very premium. We've gotten a few other developments outside of this phone, meaning other devices that have came out. We got the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro that came out last year. We got the Galaxy S22, S22 Plus, and S22 Ultra that came out as well. And we did get leaks of the Pixel 7s and some other phones that are coming out too. But even when I hold those phones against this one and I look at this device, there are very few differences. Like, yes, you have, a notch on this thing and whatever, but this device still looks very beautiful. And realistically, whenever I use this phone, and I've actually been using my iPhone 13 Pro as my main device, and because of that, I pretty much, it's the same experience, it's the same, performance, same screen, same everything. It's just a bigger phone with better battery life. But even that, the fact that the 13 Pro Max has, better battery life than the 13 Pro makes it so crazy, because my iPhone 13 Pro has been giving me such great battery life. So the fact that we have better battery life on the 13 Pro Max is even crazier in my opinion. Now the build quality, great. Back is amazing. I love the frosted glass back. I don't really wirelessly charge my phone anymore that much, but it's still cool that we have that MagSafe capability. But the screen is great. 120 Hz is something that I really want to hit on for a second. This is going to be the differentiating factor from the previous iPhones and the newer ones. When you look at the notch that came in the 2017 iPhone 10, that was great and I loved it. I think now maybe a little bit dated, but I will say when you look at the iPhone 10 and you look at the 13 Pro, for example, they look alike and they kind of perform kind of alike too. The 13 Pro and Pro Max are much faster, but I feel like that's how we're going to look at ProMotion. The fact that this iPhone had a ProMotion display at 120 Hz will kind of future-proof this device for a long, long period of time. And even though the newer iPhones will have, much better performance and way better chipsets, and maybe we'll give even like a 144 Hz panel or whatever, I will say that 120 Hz on the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max will future-proof these devices, like how the notch on the iPhone 10 future-proofed that design for many, many years to come. So personally, I think that's a really cool thing that Apple did. It's a little bit too late. I feel like they should have done it a little bit earlier, but regardless, I'm really happy Apple did this, and that is one of my favorite things about this phone too. Now, I also want to hit on the cameras. From all the reviews and all the forum posts on Reddit and everything that I've seen about this specific camera, a lot of people like it. I will say personally, with my 13 Pro, they have the same exact camera. I'm not really the person who's been utilizing all the camera features all that much. I feel like Apple in their keynotes, they do kind of go overboard and they kind of state, oh, this camera can do X, Y, and Z, and this is the reason why you need to buy the phone is because of the camera. I don't feel like people are using their cameras like that much. And personally, I do have a DSLR, but I do take a lot of photos on my camera too on my iPhone, and I've never really been using the cinematic mode too much. I'm not really too sure why. When Apple kind of demonstrated it in their keynote, I was honestly expecting myself to use it a lot more, and I actually didn't do that. I've been pretty much not even using it at all. I still take photos every once in a while. I use portrait mode more than cinematic mode, so maybe in the future I'll end up doing something. I'm not like 100% too sure, but as of right now, this is something I kind of look forward to with using this phone. And for sure, when it comes down to it, this is probably one of my favorite things about this phone. And I will say, definitely when it comes down to it, this is something where maybe I'll get a little bit, more involved in the future, but right now I'm not really using the camera too much, to be honest, but it's still a great camera for sure. And I say the same thing about the S22s and all those ones as well. Now, turning this phone on, we have the performance, we have the software, we have everything along with this device. And if you remember when I got this phone and I was comparing it against all these other phones, it was a faster device. It was pretty much faster in every single area, and it's still a very fast phone. When you buy this thing, you're not getting a slow performing phone, you're not getting a device that's outdated, you're getting a very solid performing device that is still going to be supported for a long period of time. Now, why is that so important to say? Well, like I mentioned, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is probably going to be one of those devices that's going to be supported for a long period of time, basically because of the iPhone 14s. From all the leaks that we're getting, it looks like the iPhone 14, the base model, is going to be having the same chipset as this device. Now, is that good? It depends how you look at it. It's not really too good for the 14s, but it's really good for the 13s and the 13 Pro Max specifically, because even if Apple goes ahead and changes it via the RAM, well, you're still going to have, probably more RAM or the same amount of RAM on this phone. So that's another pretty big W in my opinion for the 13 Pro Max. But on top of that, performance is amazing. Even 5 years from now, you can look at this phone and still feel like you have a very fast phone. And personally, from some things that I kind of think, because Apple has unlocked ProMotion or 120 hertz on other developers where they can go ahead and, utilize that capability, well, apps are only going to feel faster and faster from now. They're going to feel much smoother. And on top of that, even if the next iPhone or the next 5 iPhones end up bringing 120 hertz on all the devices, that doesn't change this device. The 2017 iPad Pro, I believe it was 2017, maybe 2016, the 10.5 inch one, that actually ended up having ProMotion. It was the first iPad to bring ProMotion, and that was a big deal. Even now when you mess with that iPad, it still feels like a very fast iPad. So I feel the same exact thing with the 13 Pro Max. The battery life also has been very solid, and from not only my standpoint, but from so many other people's standpoint across the world, whenever they talk about this iPhone, they continuously say it has some of the best battery life they've gotten from any single iPhone they've ever had. So this is another massive thing. And on top of that, in my opinion, when I look at this iPhone and I go from one iPhone to the other, to the other, to the other, the iPhone 13 Pro Max reminds me so much of the iPhone 11 Pro Max. When I got the 11 Pro Max and ended up using it and I ended up loving it, that was a device that I kept recommending to people and I will still recommend for years and years to come. I will say the 11 Pro Max may be a better value per dollar just because you can get it for like $400 probably right now, but there's going to be a time where the 13 Pro Max is a $800 phone you can get easily for $800. Then it's going to be a $600 phone, then it's going to be a $500 and then a $400 phone. And in that price tag from $400 to like $700, this is going to be a crazy good priced iPhone. In the future, when this iPhone ends up going down in value, which every iPhone does, this is going to be a steal. This is going to be an iPhone that's probably going to cannibalize a lot of sales in the future, for other Apple devices. And to be honest, if you don't want to buy this iPhone now, you don't have to. This is an iPhone that's going to grow in the future, and unlike the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which it had a battery problem and it didn't really feel like a big upgrade, the 13 Pro Max was a really big upgrade. You got a better display, way better battery life, better camera setup, better performance, 120 Hz, I love that. You're getting a really solid phone here, and it's going to be here for a very long amount of time. So that kind of covers up how I feel about the iPhone 13 Pro Max right now. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.